been eaten by fish and was swaying in the morning tide. Choking with disgust, Demetrios turned and kicked with the frenzy of the truly terrified, desperate for air. He glanced down as he went, and as he did so, he noticed the sun creating a bright light on the dark blue jersey which covered the waterlogged body. The light glistened upwards, reflecting thinly, from a tiny, 2-inch-long silver submarine badge, inlaid with a 5-pointed red star. April 22nd, 2002. The Indian Ocean. On board the United States aircraft carrier Thomas Jefferson, 9 degrees south, 0.92 east, speed 30 knots. The U.S. carrier and its escorts, forming a complete 12-ship battle group, were steaming towards the American naval base on Diego Garcia, the tiny atoll 500 miles south of the equator, which represents the only safe Anglo-American haven in the entire area. Up in the Admiral's Bridge, Captain Jack Baldridge, the battle group operations officer, was normally in charge, in the absence of the Admiral himself. But right now he was in conference on the floor below, in the Radar and Electronics Nerve Center, with the Tactical Action Officer and the Anti-Submarine Warfare Chief. Jack Baldridge was a stocky, irascible Kansan from the Great Plains of the Midwest, a little town called Burdett. Jack's father had commanded a destroyer in the North Atlantic in World War II. His younger brother Bill was a lieutenant commander stationed outside Washington with the U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence, somewhat mysteriously, Jack thought. But young Bill was an acknowledged expert on nuclear weapons, their safety, their storage and deployment. Captain Baldridge checked the positions of all the ships in the group, talked briefly to the sonar controller and the link operators, checking in with the surface picture compiler. He took a call on a coded line from Captain Art Berry, the New Yorker who commanded the 11,000-ton guided missile cruiser Arkansas, which was currently steaming about 8 miles off their starboard bow. The message was cryptic. Kansas City Royals 2, Yankees 8, $5. Art. 5 o'clock in the afternoon of April the 22nd, 4130 north, 29 degrees east, course 180, speed 4 knots.
They start to look for us, Ben. Time expired 1 hour. First submarine accident signal just in.
Good. What have you told the chaps?
What we agree, cover for special covert exercise. We answer nothing, soon they stop. We not exist anymore.
Okay. It'll be dark inside an hour. Now let's get organized for the transit. Follow the target as close as you possibly can.
Fine. Even though no one ever done it. Right? Ben?
My teacher once told me it could be done.
Shit! What do we hit and get stuck? We never get out of jail!
If, Georgie, you do precisely as we discussed, we will not hit anything.
But you still say we go right through the middle of port at 9 knots with big fucking white wake behind us. They see it, Ben. They can fucking miss it.
Do I have to tell you again? They will not see it if you keep really close, right in the middle of the Greek's wake. He won't want to run aground any more than you do. He won't push his luck in the shallow spots. Let's go, Georgie.
I still not like it much.
I'm not telling you to like it. Do it.
Remember, it is your fault if this goes wrong.
If it goes wrong, that won't matter. 6:35 in the evening of April 28th, 35 degrees north, 21 degrees east, course 270, due west, speed 5.
Ben, we got rattle up forward.
Damn. We'll have to stop right away. Fix it. We can't afford to travel 1 more mile with that.
No problem. I will fix. Soon as it's dark. Very quiet here, anyway.
5:23 in the morning of April 29th. Same location. At least the rattle's gone. I really am very sad about your man. Sounds heartless, I don't mean it to be so, but I just hope they never find his body.
No time look anymore, not blame anyone. Just freak wave. I seen it before. Now we say good Catholic prayer for him.
I should like to join you in that. 3 o'clock in the afternoon of May 4th. 36 degrees north, 3 degrees west. Course 270, due west. Speed 5.
You have plans for Straits, Ben?
I've no requirements whatsoever, except we do not get caught. You've driven through here many times, I'm sure.
Yes, but long time back, and Americans have better surveillance now. They got suspicion last time, maybe satellite photo. Now how you make another miracle, Ben? How we go through in secret?
Basically, Georgie, old man, we have only one choice. Very slowly, very quietly, and hope to God no one really sees us. Noon of May 6th, Fort Meade, Maryland. Vice Admiral Arnold Morgan, director of the National Security Agency, a short, hard-eyed Texan with grimly trimmed white hair, sat alone behind his desk. He was normally on 3 telephones, growling orders which would be relayed by satellite to his agencies throughout the world. Late on the previous evening, he had received a satellite message. It had not been urgent or alarming, or even particularly informative. It was, nonetheless, distinctly unsatisfactory, and something about it irritated Arnold Morgan. The story was simple. Gibraltar facility picked up very short transient contact on very quiet vessel at 05:0438 May 02. Insufficient hard copy data for firm classification. Oral, compressed cavitation, 1 shaft, 5 blades, probably non-nuclear. It took about 5 minutes on the computer for the Admiral to figure out that it could not have been an American or British boat, a bit longer to find out that it could not have been French or Spanish either. Israel had 1 submarine of Russian origin in service that he knew of, but there was a record of it entering the Atlantic 4 weeks ago, so it was not them. The goddamned Iranians had 3 they bought from Russia, but they had all been accounted for in the Gulf recently, thoroughly enough for him to know that none of them were that far from home. He had already played a long shot and placed a call to his opposite number in the Russian Navy in Moscow. It was all very cheerful these days, and without hesitation the Russians told him they had not sent any of their diesel boats through the strait for 18 months. In fact, the only Russian diesel unaccounted for was lost in an accident in the Black Sea about 3 weeks ago, and was right now resting in 700 meters of water with everyone in it dead. They were still searching, but had found her special indicator buoys drifting and a small amount of debris. All of which baffled Admiral Morgan. Only a few people can even hear these subtle distant sound waves, and even fewer can recognize them. And if his man in Gibraltar said he had heard 1 shaft and 5 blades, then that was what he had heard. 1 o'clock in the afternoon of May 27th, 6 degrees south, 73 degrees east, course 340, speed 12. Surrounded by his most senior staff, Rear Admiral Zach Carson, one of the few high-ranking seagoing officers in the United States Navy, was methodically grappling with a zillion details involving the waging of war on a scale never before witnessed on this particular planet. He was seated in a king-size leather chair in the flag operations room on the 3rd floor of the island, 30 feet above the 4.5-acre flight deck of his flagship, the USS Thomas Jefferson. They had moved generally west-northwest during the past 2 weeks in the Indian Ocean, and the huge aircraft carrier was now proceeding close north of the remote tropical atoll of Diego Garcia. Admiral Carson was due on station in those tense, somewhat unpredictable seas 8 days from now. His massive presence there, at the very gateway to the Gulf of Iran, served as a warning to all who might challenge the right of the world's tankers to ply their trade along sprawling crude oil terminals which stretch from the Straits of Hormuz to Iraq. His presence would also, unavoidably, deepen the already simmering hatred of much of the Islamic nation. But that goes with the territory of a battle group commander. And the tall 6'4" Kansan Zach Carson, at the age of 56, had long since accepted that not everyone flew a flag of pure joy when his giant ship hove into sight along the horizons of the Middle East. At this particular moment, in deep conversation with Captain Jack Baldridge,